I'm a genius. If Eevee evolves with one stone, then if we use every stone on it at once, we should create the ultimate Pokemon. To the lab. First my lab coat, then my safety goggles, and lastly, my glove. What the hell are these? Whose gloves are they? Now to get one of my Eevees, the perfect specimen. Come here. Now for some stones. Just what I need, the fire stone and the water stone. Now, Eevee, prepare to make me millions.
You Muppets all know Pokemon can evolve into many forms, but what happens if we mix evolution methods at the same time? Specifically, giving an Eevee multiple evolution stones at once. Doing this, would we fuck up the Pokemon so bad it comes out like Grimer? Or would we get a Chad super enhanced evolution that ascends further than the Megas? What if Eevee would become the evolution it wants to be most? Take this scenario. You have an Eevee and you touch it with the water stone and the fire stone at the same time. But your Eevee had dreams of being a Vaporeon since it was little, so it would turn into a Vaporeon. Wouldn't that be a wholesome way to resolve the theory? But you and I both know the anime has their own way of doing things. Like when I saw Pokemon's first battle was an open 3-on-3 between Ash and Team Rocket, and I realized Pikachu and Meowth didn't even participate, I had to go back and rewrite that battle myself. If you got time, check it out in the top right of this video. My version turned out way better. Now back to this theory. Vaporeon is a thing. Now what is Vaporeon's thing, you might ask? Bro, it's like in-game the most breedable Pokemon. It's the Pokemon most compatible for human breeding. My goodness, with Vaporeon's existence, you might be thinking we have no one left to lead this experiment. But fear not, because I will power through. And who am I, you might ask? I'm Julian.
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
Behind me is my personal Kanto security, and we are the Imagination Pile. And help us get to that 200 subs goal, you Muppets. Now, let the Eevee theory begin. Are there any facts to go off? Well, the anime had Team Rocket almost give an Eevee 3 stones at once.
We'll use all 3 stones on Eevee at the same time.
But we never got to see what would have happened since Fire Kyle, Water Kyle, and Electric Kyle got their big noses involved. It's fun to see the anime still tease the concept of Eevee evolving with multiple stones at once though. For today, we're focusing on 2 concepts of evolution, Eevee evolving using 2 stones and Eevee evolving using all the stones. First up, let's talk about the potential concept of duolution, double evolution. We know Eevee can turn into Vaporeon with a water stone or Flareon with a fire stone, but what does it turn into when we use 2 stones at the exact same time? Do we get a sweet fusion of both, or does Eevee explode? Let's simulate what a potential duolution could look like. This is a Vaporeon-Flareon fusion. It looks cool as hell. And yes, I know Umbreon and Espeon don't evolve using stones, but imagine if they did, with Umbreon using the Moonstone and Espeon using the Sunstone. Other possible cool duolutions using 2 stones at once include Umbreon Vaporeon, Espeon Vaporeon, Glaceon Vaporeon, and I'm using a lot of Vaporeon examples. So if using 2 evolution stones at once on Eevee could exist, it'd have to give Eevee a uber special powerful form. It'd be a wild power up on the same level of the DBZ fusion. Even in Pokemon, there's fusions already, with Kyurem using the DNA splicers with Reshiram and Zekrom for Absa fusion. But in our duolution case, it isn't 2 Pokemon fusing together using one method. No, that's too good for us. We're gonna have 1 Pokemon evolve using 2 methods. Let me explain how our concept of duolution sounds with an analogy of baking a cake. In DBZ and Kyurem's case, they're smart. They want to make 1 final cake and buy ingredients for 2 cakes. Wow. And in our case, we want to make 2 cakes, but we go to the store and buy the ingredients for only 1.
What the hell is even that?
Now that we understand this, duolution must have its drawbacks. So what if you could get a strong base stat duolution Pokemon, but it can't sustain the form longer than a single battle? Like how Luffy and All Might have enhanced forms, but they can't sustain them for long periods of time. And when the battle is over, our Pokemon must turn back into Eevee. And here, I'm gonna give you 2 options, and I want you to decide how duolution should work in the comments. Option 1, would you rather Eevee be able to go back in its duolution form whenever you wanted, just by using a new pair of stones? Or option 2, would you want to make the power-up special and have duolution only be possible once in that Eevee's lifetime? Imagine going into the Elite Four, saving Duolution the whole game, just to whoop the champion's ass. Cue up Cynthia's theme, because now it's our time to make Cynthia pick the wrong house in Undella Town. Now for the theory of using every stone at once on an Eevee. I'm gonna call this concept Multivolve. Now working for you? Imagine a concept in Pokemon that takes after the Exodia concept in Yu-Gi-Oh! Somehow pull off a Multivolve and auto-win. I'm thinking you have an Eevee with the hidden ability called Multivolve, and you must equip it with the special stone called the Multi-Stone. If it stays in for 5 turns without being KO'd in battle, it multivolves, and it's an auto-win. And let's make it even more interesting. An Eevee holding the Multi-Stone cannot use any move, since the process of multivolving takes all of that Eevee's energy and focus for 5 turns. Under any circumstance, it's an auto win. I also found this art of an ascended Eevee by artist Diotaku Uzumi. How cool is this? I could totally see this being the official in-game Eevee design for an Eevee Multivolve. This thing could rival a being like Arceus. Imagine an Eevee with the power of Arceus just running around. You cheap out on its Purina Dog Chow and you're fucked. But sadly, combining evolution stones is still not a thing in the Pokemon world. We'd probably end up exploding our save file if we tried, but it's still fun to imagine. So, would you want these evolution methods to exist? How would you handle Eevee's evolution if you could do it differently? For real, let me know in the comments how you guys would do things. I'd love to chat with you guys about it. And remember to support the channel. We're aiming for 200 subs, so don't let us down. Until next time, be the person your Pokemon would be proud to call its trainer.